Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wiggin' Out with Bobby Z, hosted by me, Bobby Z. As you can see, I shaved off my eyebrows. Okay, no, I didn't. I've been getting a lot of requests lately on how I cover my eyebrows when I dress up in drag because I have such thick, bushy Jew caterpillar brows. Everyone's wondering where they go, how I get rid of them, etc., etc., etc. So if you want to know how to block out your brows the way I do it, stay tuned. So these are what my brows look like naturally. You can see my brows are pretty thick and they're dense, and they usually come way down to like here, but I get them waxed. So I cover these when I do my drag makeup, and I've seen tons and tons and tons of tutorials on how to cover your brows. And I've tried pretty much everything, and I was never able to get them fully down and gone. Even like professional makeup artist friends of mine were doing my drag makeup for me, and my eyebrows would just pop before we even left the house, and it's just like, you're gonna be out and about for 3 hours and your eyebrows are already popped, so heaven knows what they're gonna look like when you actually get back. I mean, luckily my eyebrows only ever pop when they do right here where it's the thickest and the densest, but that's where I always start my brow. So if that pops, it'll kind of just look like texture in my actual brow, and it won't look so bad because I've never had this pop. It's always right here that pops. So like moving your face and stuff like that and sweating will make your brows kind of pop as well, just because it's glued to your skin and it's maneuvering, and eventually they'll pop out. My drag girlfriend's Nina York. Hey girl, she's a costume designer and also a makeup artist. She has thick Latino girl brows, and she covers hers with glue stick as well, but she taught me what I call the spatula technique, and that really helped me a lot. Like, my eyebrows were down smooth, they stayed down all night, because I know there's lots of queens out there like me that just don't want to shave their eyebrows off, but are kind of at their wit's end, and they're like, I'm out to shave my eyebrows off, or they don't want to have the skinny little trainee eyebrows like I used to have in college. Here we go. So this is what you'll need to cover your eyebrows the way I do it, the spatula spackle technique. Makeup wipes to clean off your hands and to clean off any fallout that gets on your face or anything like that. You're going to need makeup sponges. These are nice and resilient, and they pop back, but they have a little give to them, but they're not too squishy, so I like it when they're a little tough like these. I always use two different colors of powder on my face, so I like to have two powder puffs. So I have one for white and then one for translucent. Need powder. This is the Ben Nye face powder in super white and fair. Usually I use Coty powder, but today I figured I'd try it with the fair translucent powder by Ben Nye. Since I'm not actually doing a full face of makeup, I'm just gonna cover them. So you're also gonna need a blow dryer. You'll also need a small spatula of some kind. I have this one, which I got at the art supply store, and you want to make sure you get one that's smooth around the edges, that's not serrated, because if it's serrated you can cut yourself. Like, it's like a knife. You want one that's smooth. You want to make sure that it's small enough that it can go inside of a glue stick. You'll also need gauze pads. Now, you can use paper towel, facial round, or something like that, but I find that gauze pads don't leave little pills behind. Get these at a medical supply center. You can also get them sometimes at drugstores or pharmacies. You also need a metal spoon. Now, I have this is just a metal spoon that I bought at the 99-cent store for 99 cents, and I just keep it in my kit. An eyebrow comb brush thing like this, like a cheap little toothbrush. And don't forget the glue. For my technique, I like to have two separate glue sticks. Once you use the spatula in the glue and you start mixing it up and everything, you can't really spread the glue like this again on your forehead from the stick. So that's why I have a second one just for that purpose. And it's the clear one and I just use it on that top last coat. You'll also need base foundation. Some people use highlight foundation. I just cover everything with the regular foundation, but that's me personally. And this is the Mayeron Pan Stick, and it is the 2B Extra Bare, because I'm a pasty bitch. I do have pale skin, but I have so much pink and redness in my skin that my skin appears to be a lot darker than it actually is. But if you look at my arms are like translucent white. But my face isn't quite because of all the pink and everything in my skin. So I have to go actually a little darker with my foundation, but I blend it out into my chest and into my shoulders, and you can't really see it. Also need face wash for washing your face first. You always want to wash your face before you start doing makeup so you can get rid of all the oils and residue and dirt from your day or whatever on your face. I use the FY22 facial cleanser, and this is scented. Really like it. It's very cleansing, but it's gentle. It doesn't strip your skin too much, and it doesn't dry you out. So that's what I use. I recommend it. I'll put the link in the bottom. Also need facial toner. This is just CVS toner that I put in a little pump like this because it's so much easier. I mean, now that you see this, you're totally going to do that, right? Yeah. But I have my 91% alcohol as well. And also, if you have these little tiny guys of powder like I do right now, and it's just because I bought these a while ago before I started really doing drag, so when I rebuy them, I'm going to buy the big guy. You should get a bowl or something like that to pour the powder into so you can powder puff it. Now, personally, I love to use coffee filters for this because then you can just ball it up and throw it away. You don't have to worry about cleaning a dish. But I'm actually out of coffee filters, which sucks because I love coffee. One last quick tip before I start showing you guys what to do. If you're like me and you do get your eyebrows waxed, I recommend not getting them waxed the day you're going to glue them down or anything like that because you can really irritate your skin. Especially me, I have really sensitive skin. So if I get my eyebrows waxed and then I glue over them, I break out so bad the next day and it's painful. Basically, everyone's saying you trim your brows by combing all the hair up, cutting, and combing all the hair over here and cutting. However, for me, if I do that, my eyebrows pop so much easier because I have all these little short hairs. I find that if I leave them a little longer and I get a better coverage because they actually will glue down to my forehead instead of gluing into themselves. The first step is wash your face. I already did that with the FY22, this guy. Okay, so as you can see, I'm shaven and everything. So what happened when I was recording the beginning part of this video is I did the whole thing. I covered my brows and everything, but since I didn't put contacts in, I had my hand mirror, hairsprayed and gross, I had my hand mirror right here on my computer, and I didn't realize that I was so close because I didn't have contacts in, that the whole video is this. So you barely see my eyebrows, you mainly just see my beautiful red hair. So I decided, hey, I'm going out tonight in drag, so why don't I redo the actual coverage. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to take your alcohol on your gauze pad, and I do this one eyebrow at a time just because it's easier for me. I know people that do both at the same time. I can't do that because while I'm working on this one's drying and I have to get this one out of the way, and so I just do one eyebrow at a time. So I wipe it down with alcohol, and I set this aside, and I use this to clean stuff with later. And I also use a different gauze pad for each eyebrow. You don't want to contaminate the oil from this side onto this side, which you're trying to clean. So I feel like I look weird with contacts on as a boy, especially without facial hair. I look like a baby. I mean, it's not a bad thing. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your glue stick, and as you can see, I've used this a lot. And you're just going to go in there with your spatula, and you're going to want to pick up about that much glue. Now, that's a lot more glue than you're actually going to end up needing, but you'll see why in a second. And also today, I think I'm going to hold my mirror instead of putting it on my computer so I can check in the computer to make sure I'm doing everything right. Okay, so then what I do is I like try to put the glue on my brow in this motion, kind of going against the grain of the hair like that, wherever. And then as you kind of work it in, the heat of your body and the movement of the spatula will kind of work it in a little more. And then if you see like you have some places where you have a lot, like right there, kind of scooch that over. And whenever I pick up extra product when I'm doing this, you'll notice after I pick it up and I move it all the way over to the end, I go back to the center and I reapply that product at the center. And that's just because the center of my eyebrows is always what pops on me. So I feel that if I just keep reapplying at the center, it makes it a little less prone to pop. So you want to take your comb, and I comb my hairs down actually first, just like this. And then you'll notice that that's picking up all that extra glue. So then you turn the comb over and you comb up. And you want to comb straight up, almost over directing it towards the middle. I just find that if I try to get those hairs up and out of the way, just kind of like that it lasts a lot better with me. So now that you have that combed through, you want to take your alcohol swab and you want to just put your comb in it, because the alcohol will dissolve the glue and you'll easily be able to remove it. So then you want to take your spoon and you want to use the back of the spoon to smooth out and to make your brows flat. And I kind of sometimes will use the spoon to kind of pick up that extra glue, and then I, again, like I said, put it right back in that middle section right here. And then clean off your spoon right away. I mean, you can still get the glue off, but if the glue's still wet, it comes off a lot easier from the spoon. So, my handy dandy makeup wipe, and I'm going to wipe away the excess from the underneath and the top while it's still wet, because you want to make sure that and then I like to go over it with my bare finger after that. So again, there we go. Just like that. So you can already see that my brow is down. So now I'm going to go over and I'm going to do this side. Okay, so now that you have your glue drying, you can hit it with a cool blow dryer. So I start with my brows first. In between each layer, I do something. So I'm just going to keep this rolling so you guys can kind of see, just so that you clean off your spatula. Even though you're going to use it again, you want to clean it off. And then you want to do is you want to take your comb and you want to clean it with like the old toothbrush, like I talked about. I think I talked about that. I don't remember. I recorded that video earlier this week, so I don't remember what all I included in there or not. But if you notice, the bristles on the old toothbrush get in there and they clean off all of that glue gunk out of your brush. So then you can use it again next time without having to worry about glue buildup. Okay, so now that my eyebrows are going, I usually start with my hair. Now I'm only wearing one wig tonight, shock, and I'm just wearing a little tiny hat on it, so I'm not going to do as many ponytails as I normally do, and that's just because I want to be able to get this shit off easy. And the last time I went out in drag, wait, why am I talking? I'm speeding this up. Basically, that story was we went to the diner afterwards, and I was trying to get my hair off for about 10 minutes, and all the other queens were like, do you need some help? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm just prepping my hair, and I'm going to put a little link to the video where I show you how I prep my hair if you have any questions about what I'm doing. Okay, now that my wig prep's all done, I'm going to go back in with my spatula and my glue stick again. If you swirl the spatula in the glue, it kind of makes it jellier, and it's kind of easier for you to spread it onto your brows. A smaller amount, about that much. Because I remember when I did this before, I had way too much on my eyebrow. So then what I do is I spackle it on, starting from the inside, and I spackle it over my glue layer from before. And then I kind of sometimes will pick up the extra glue like that and just add it to the center, like I said. And then you want to smooth it with the spoon one more time. And again, move that product into the center of the brow if you need to. And I'm just going to add a little tiny bit more just to the center of my brow, just to make sure that it is extra tight. And basically, when you're spackling this on, what you're doing is you're filling in all of those micro holes and pieces that are caused by having hair strands trying to go smooth. So that's how I do that. And then I got it all over my forehead. So quickly, when it's still purple, you want to go through. I just want to wipe it off and get it all over your face in the process, like I just did. Underneath too, because you need. Sound like a pilot on an airplane. You really want to make sure that when you cover your brows, you want to make sure that you don't go too far, because if you do, you will run into peeling later. I hope you enjoyed my impression. Back again and just smooth out that center one more time just to make it nice and tight. Just like that. And then again, clean off your spoon. So now that I'm gonna let that cool. I'm gonna let this dry, and while it's drying, I'm going to start blocking out my beard with orange foundation, or in my case, red and yellow foundation, because they didn't have the orange Ben Nye at. Oh, the baby wipe actually works better at getting the glue off the spoon. The more you know. Ding! So as you can see, I'm starting with the yellow foundation first because it's lighter. And I'm going in with a foundation brush against the grain, and I like to pat it into the foundation and then pat it into my skin and go against the grain, and then do the same with a separate brush for red and then a separate brush to mix. Also, when I'm doing my makeup, I like to have, as I knock everything over, I like to have two mugs, one for powder brushes and one for wet brushes like this, so I can go back and reapply if I need to, or also so they keep separated. Because nothing's worse than picking up your powder brush and figuring out that you have red foundation on it. So, that's no good. So now that I look like Homer Simpson, you can still see a little bit of purple, especially right here, and it's gone. So I'm actually going to use my blow dryer, and you want to use it on the highest blow setting, and you want to use it on no heat, so you just want to use cool. So now what you want to do is you want to take your white powder on your puff, and you really want to load that puff up, and you just want to dab it into your brow. You don't want to go too hard at first because you risk pushing the glue. So now I'm pushing it into it like that. And basically this white is what's going to kind of block out the color, but I also go over my eyebrows with the orange as well. So now I'm going to brush all this excess off my face. I also put a very light dusting of powder over my beard area at this step as well. I do this because the Mayron stick I use is very wet and tends to mix with the orange versus cover over it unless I powder. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other glue stick I have. Like I said, you can use one glue stick. I like to use two so I can have one to scoop and one to swipe. So then what you want to do is you just want to take your second glue stick and you want to go following the direction of the hair. You just want to do a quick swipe of a glue layer. What I do is I like to powder it when the glue is actually wet. When I do it with the swipe technique, just so that I can kind of get it in there and get it set, and then it'll dry with the powder. Okay. So now that I look ridiculously crazy, I'm not going to powder. I'm not going to blend this in with the brush. I'm just going to let it sit. And then since my beard's covered, the next thing that I would have to do is foundation. But I have to do at least one more layer of glue. So I'm actually going to go set up the rest of my makeup in the bathroom. And then these will be dry by then. And I'll come back and do the last layer for you guys. Okay, so now that you have them whited out, and I went ahead and did another layer, and I forgot to turn the camera on, so shh. I put another layer of glue on. So right now I have 4 layers of glue. I have down, comb it back, let it dry, go another layer, powder, another layer, powder, another layer, powder. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my brows as well with the yellow and red Ben Nye cream foundations. And you never want to swipe, you always want to pat. As you can see, I've focused most of the yellow in the center because that's the part that's really going to show if you don't cover it. The rest of it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go in again now with my red. And I like to just go in a little bit with the red, as you saw before. So it's kind of like an ombre, almost. It looks like a fire. And then I'm just going to pat those in together to blend it and to kind of make my eyebrows then disappear. Now I'm going to go in with my foundation stick. There we go. And then you, like I said before, you want to pat, because if you smear, you can peel off all that powder and even the glue. So you want to pat, and also when you pat, it gets the color into between those hairs if you have if you're not fully smooth. Okay, so that's where I'm going to end this video right now. I'm going to come back, I'm going to flip the screen, and I'm going to come back when I'm all done up so you guys can see how it's covered, but they're pretty good. They're not, there's a little on this side right here, there's a little bit, I just gave you guys the finger, sorry! There's a little bit in the center that's not quite smooth, but, or flat, it's just a little bit. But I always start my brow there anyway, so it'll blend out. Yeah, you guys can see that they're gone, and I look like a crazy person. So I'm going to finish getting ready, and I'll flip around, and I'll come back. See you guys soon. Okay, so here I am all done, and I have a little hat and my purple hair. So you're going to see a couple videos with me in this look. Sorry. Oh, I got a text message. I'm popular. So this is how I did my makeup. I went a lot lighter than I normally do because my hair is so bright. I went very subtle with my contour them, except for my neck, of course, to get rid of my double chin and my man jaw. But you can see, if I get close, that my eyebrows are pretty much where the black shadow is. So you can see that my drawn-on eyebrows start pretty much where they really start, and I draw them up and out. I did a purple brow, and I freaking love it. Like, I'm so out of my comfort zone right now, but this is not Bernadette at all, really. I mean, it kind of is, because I still have my little vintagey wave, and I got my cute little fascinator. But to me, this is completely out of the box from what I normally do, and I really love it. I think it turned out really good. So thank you guys again for watching. Please check out all my fun social media stuff down in the box. Please feel free to email me if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything you want to see in a future video. I'll get back to you. Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. So you guys are probably wondering how you get all of that off since it's glue. What I do when I come home after drag, and honestly though, the longer your eyebrows are covered, the more likely they are to pop. And the hotter you get and the more you sweat and the more you're dancing around and doing whatever, the more likely they are to pop. So usually I'm in drag for by the time I'm all dressed, I'm usually in drag for about 6 or 8 hours. Once, like, I leave my house, and by the time I get back and get everything off, it's usually about between 6 and 8 hours. So usually by then my eyebrows have popped a little bit as it is, so that's a little easier to get off. But if you don't have oily skin and you don't sweat and you don't really get hot, then to get them off, what you want to do is you want to take cold cream and get all the makeup off your face with cold cream. So you want to put the cold cream on your face, massage it in, make sure you get all that makeup nice and loose, and then you wipe that off with a dry washcloth. And then usually what I do is I'll get it in the shower and I wash my hair, and I get the warm water all on my face and in my hair as I'm washing it. And then I take the same washcloth and I get that wet with warm or hot water, and I just hold it over my brows while I'm like rinsing my hair or while I'm conditioning my hair or whatever. And then I kind of scrub lightly, and then I kind of wipe. And that just gets, the warm water basically reactivates the glue and melts it again. And then the towel will absorb and remove the glue. That's how you get it off, just with a warm washcloth. And then you want to wash your face after that to make sure you get any residual glue off that didn't possibly come off with the towel.